you don't expect 32,
Yeah.
maybe, but Saturday, Sunday is gonna be better.
So maybe it's
Sunny.
50s.
Yeah,
Sunny.
we can do that.
That's decent softball weather.
Yes, especially February.
Yeah.
I this morning, said, you're making this out.
Yeah, I'm not coming. I like your jacket. Golly. We went out
It's
for,
actually warmer than I thought it was gonna be this time.
yeah, we went out for about hour and a half yesterday, and I couldn't feel my hands, and I had batting gloves on, and I was like, geez, and I was hitting ground balls, and usually I smoke them, and because I could just see one finger busting in half. So
Yeah.
What do you tell the ladies as they, I mean, obviously it won't last, but
no, well, we don't use the word cold, we use the word fresh, and I don't want to hear cold. So of course, when we walked out of the batting cage, the first kid said, "Oh, it's really fresh out here." So they have learned, but they didn't complain, and we ended early because they were dealing with it, because that's probably going to be tomorrow night, you know. So, but I'd rather play than not.
Yeah. That's true, too, yeah. Well, how many is it, Bama matches is?
Shoot, I think every year.
Every year?
Well, no, we had
We
it.
didn't. It's almost every year.
Yeah. We started at Bowers Park, or no, started at Sokol,
Yeah.
and then we had a 12-team Bama Bash at Bowers, and it was awesome. There was a 4-field complex. A lot of teams came. Good competition, and we just continued it year after year. And we've had, Jenny Finch played it one year. We've had some really, really good teams. So really glad that Virginia Tech, they played here last year, and literally on the way home, one of the assistants called me, and I thought they forgot something, or, and he goes, "Hey, Pete wants to know if we can come back." I was like, heck yeah. And so they're back, and I'm gonna have to find a way to get up there, because this is like the 3rd time they've come. And just really good competition. It's been great games with them. Drake is a school from Des Moines, Iowa, which is my home state. I know the coach forever, and it's an opportunity for them to come down. And then Southern Utah, great lady. Head coach's name is Don Williams, and just a great friend and coaching counterpart. And we're glad that they could make it. First time ever, obviously, for them. But Drake's been here before, and so is Virginia Tech.
What Utah was that?
Sorry? Southern Utah.
Southern Utah.
Yeah.
well, speaking just to start with Virginia Tech, what do you see in Emma Limley, excuse me?
Very hard thrower, 70s, up, really good rise ball, just a good pitcher. She's been doing it from day one. She got touched up a little bit at LSU this past weekend, and other than that, she had like a 0.0 ERA. Hadn't given up an earned run all year, and I'm sure she'll pitch lights out against us. She did last year, so we're looking forward to that matchup. And they've got 4 or 5 on staff. All of them throw hard. They hit the ball. They swing through the fences. So it's a typical Virginia Tech team.
What do you think your team, what have you been stressing to your team about learning and how to close out the games?
I know, and then we had leads in 3 of the games in Clearwater in the 6th and/or 7th, and that's the key. You got to learn to close it out, and you need to. Obviously, those are really good teams. I think all 5 that we played will be in the NCAA tournament. Ohio State impressed us. New coaching staff. Liberty's always good. San Diego State, shoot, they went 5-0 in the tournament, and I think surprised some people, but not us. So, and obviously UCLA, always good. Oklahoma State, but I think it's the most Power 4 teams we'd ever played the first 2 weekends, and we're playing really well, except for maybe 1 inning, 3 outs or 2 outs in an inning. Couldn't stop UCLA. Oklahoma State obviously was the home team. They had an opportunity to end it early, and they did. So we just got to make better pitches. We got to make better plays. And the other thing, like Tuesday night when we played up in Huntsville, which is awesome. You'll love that. Just a really cool venue and a great opportunity for all of us to get up there. And just the first, when Audrey got up to bat in the bottom of the first, it was getting to be dark, but it was still a little dusk. And, you know, the field was a little bit raised, so there was a gradual incline on the sides. But her standing in at home plate just reminded me of the movie The Natural. The lighting was cool. She was like, I don't know, it was just a cool moment for me to see that. And I hope that Ole Miss, Auburn, and Mississippi State all have the same experience that we had, and that they will go back to their respective bosses and say, wow, what a cool event, and what a opportunity that the SEC tournament could be there. So we'll see. But I've gone off track there. So what was your question even?
Closing out games.
Yeah.
What did you learn? What were you emphasizing to close out games?
Well, got to make a better pitch. You know, there was a couple of walks in there, but for the most part, you know, we had a couple 1-2 counts. Didn't finish her off. I think a 1-2 count is the most important for a pitcher, and if you can get to 1-2, you should be able to win that battle. But it needs to be in 4-5 pitches, not more. You know, a couple times we were 3-1, 2-0. That's too easy for a hitter. Nowadays, that's not a good opportunity for the pitcher. So, just eliminate mistakes. And I thought our infield defense was the best against Oklahoma State. And then Tuesday night, we didn't commit an error. So we don't need to give teams 23, 24 outs. We got to quit doing that.
You mentioned the competition, the Power 4 competition you've already faced. What has that given you as a coach as far as learning your team and knowing about your team? What have you learned of your team?
Well, there's a lot of new kids that, you know, when what hits the fan, we didn't know how that was going to happen. And, you know, out in Arizona, Brooke Elstad hit the 3-run home run against Washington. Just a incredible moment. Things like that. Papillo the other night hit a home run that's still going. That might be the longest home run I've seen since Jackie Traina hit one against Auburn here 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I mean, it was a shot. Everybody on the team was just couldn't believe it. You know, so things like that, like Emily Winstead, she gave us a couple of really good innings. Kate Riley had a couple of good starts. Those are new kids. Audrey, you know, and you know, she stole 14 in a row, I think, and just has really shown her worth and her ability on the bases for sure. And she's getting on base. That's the key. 1 and 2 have been on base almost every game, and that's the key.
Do you have any injury updates on Kendall Clark?
She is close. She got hit in BP, and they do an X-ray every Monday, I think, or Friday, I can't remember. So if it's looks clean, like tomorrow, it could be a possibility. She's been hitting like half the time in practice. We'll do live, and she'll only take like 5 at-bats versus 10. She's been short tossing, she's been off the tee. And then just the other day up at Huntsville, she was throwing in infield practice. So, you know, it is her throwing hand, but she looks pretty good too.
I want to ask you about Brisky. I think we all see what she's capable of, but I think we also sometimes forget she's just a sophomore. So I'm curious, when you get into some of these situations like we saw in Clearwater, where she's out there and she's pitching really well, what does it look like when you're looking at, okay, how long is she going to be in there situated? Communication? How are you handling that?
I know, that's the toughest part, because the other night, the 5th inning, I believe, she struck out the side, you know, and then comes out in the 6th and struggles a little bit. So I don't know if she loses a little bit of focus. You know, it was colder than hell, obviously. We need to figure that out. And the hardest part with me and Lance is, okay, do we let a pitcher go out for an inning, or do we replace with nobody on base and it's a fresh start? And for me, that's what I'd rather do. Like, and you know, out in at Clearwater, there was a game where we said, okay, Caitlin's gonna start, she's gonna go 4. Well, at the end of 4, she'd only give up the leadoff home run, and she was at 8 and 9. So she had gone through the lineup, I think, twice. And it was, okay, we said at the beginning, we're not gonna change our mind. So 8, 9, she got them out. Emily came in, got the 3rd girl out, and you know, pitched pretty well the rest of that. So I don't know if it needs to be a, you know, okay, Brisky, you're 1 through 4, 1 through 5. And obviously you think that, okay, she's rocking and rolling. And as a sports writer, you might say, why didn't you take her out? Yeah, you would. You know, that's the hardest part, seriously. And I have confidence in our hitters. You know, like we were down Liberty 3-0 and we were up 5-3, like that. So the other night we were down 2-0 and we were up 7-2.
Yeah.
So I have confidence in our hitters. It's not that. It's just like you don't want a big inning to happen. So that's really the toughest call, I think, for a pitching coach or a head coach. Like, do I put her out there? You know, when do we take her out, or when do we leave her in, and all that?
And then,
Go ahead.
I mean, I feel like it gets lost because you probably dropped some games you wouldn't normally. I think your offense looks better than it has, to be
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
Am I crazy in that?
No, you're right.
Where does that come from? Where have they
I
got
think
better?
Adam and Caleb Rowe did a great job this fall. You're gonna ask Larissa that in a second, but like she's twice this year. Marley's much better. I think Kendall Clark's gonna be better. Dukeshire's gonna be better. Callie Heaven is way more consistent. You know, the last couple of years, we've had like, you could start 35, 40 games, but you don't have to be the 3-4 hole hitter. This year, now those freshmen, sophomore, and juniors, and they're capable of doing it, you know, hitting 3, 4, 5. Where before it was like, oh God, I gotta hit 3-hole for Alabama as a freshman. Kind of like Brisky right now, you know, she's going through it a little bit, but Audrey, I don't know, I think she's just good. You know, she hits the home run against UCLA, hits a double off the fence against UCLA, and not a big deal. So I think the confidence is there. They've gotten rid of a lot of socks in the top drawer. They're not thinking as much. I think it's just see the ball, hit the ball. I think what somebody out in Arizona told me, he said, wow, Larissa Pruitt is a totally different kid. She struts to the plate and she looks like she has a plan every single time she goes up there. And that's a cool thing to say about a hitter.
You talked about Brisky. Can you expound on the entire staff? What you think about the performance over 2 weeks? What you've seen out of them?
Yeah. So, Caitlin Brisky will start the first game. Second game is going to be Ailey and Brea Hodges. So if you're here, you get to see those two. Saturday is Emily Winstead Day, so she's going to start the first game against Drake. It's a doubleheader, and then we'll see from Friday who starts the second game on Saturday. We did a hitter versus pitcher for an extended time yesterday inside. So we're in the cages and the pitcher, and we measure off 43 feet, and one cage was 2-0 and the other cage was 0-0. So the pitcher obviously is a disadvantage, 2-0, but Lance did not want anybody to walk somebody. So pretty successful. And then 0-0, obviously the pitcher had a little bit of an advantage, and see what happens. But and then some cages they had only 2 pitches that they could throw. The other cage they could throw whatever they had, and we had catchers in both, which helps too. So Brea, hard thrower, rise ball, curve ball, good change up. Ailey, stronger, faster, best change up on staff, curve ball, rise ball, and she's working a little drop ball. Winstead is the opposite of Brisky and Riley. She's more up, really good change up. Lance taught her in the fall. And Caitlin is drop, off speed, change up, some rise ball with some good spin. So it's different. Everybody's different. It's not the same kid in there, and different speeds.
You talked about Audrey. Everybody can see her impact in the batter's box and on the base pass. How has she impacted the program off the field?
I think, you know, we had a like exit interviews in the first week of December before everybody went home, finals week and everything, and she sits down with me and Ryan Iamurray, who's our player development person, and I said, well, what'd you think of the fall? And she said, honestly, I had no expectations. I told my mom and dad that if Coach Murphy told me something, I was gonna say yes, sir, and if Coach Bro told me something, I was gonna say yes, ma'am, and do whatever the heck they told me to do, which is a rarity, you know, which is really refreshing to hear. So she's a coach's kid. She's the youngest of 3 athletes, all Division I athletes. Mom was a track star, and they get it, which is awesome.
I don't want to harp on Brisky, but I do want to. I missed one. I left him on the table. You talked about wanting to figure that out. timeline wise, is that something you wanna have figured out before conference, where she needs to be, how you wanna
Oh,
handle
yeah.
her? Or
Yeah,
is it-
no,
okay.
definitely. And we have 3 weeks at home, which is a blessing. And then, actually 4 weeks, but the fourth is SEC.
Okay.
So we have 3 weeks of non-conference left. That's a lot of opportunities to get stuff going. Obviously, she's a kid from Phoenix and she'd rather have warmer weather, but you gotta deal with it, right? But she'll be fine, you know. Beaver, it took her a little while, and, you know, I saw Kat Osterman tweet the other day, hey, all pitchers, FYI, I had a 14 ERA after the first weekend as a freshman, and I got my brains beat out as a freshman. And almost every freshman, or, you know, anybody really that enters into college, they're gonna get hit. And how they bounce back is the key.
Maybe one more.
Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah,